Welcome to another episode of That Morrison Live. Today we're going to talk about our favourite day in Shanghai.
Oh yes, by far the favourite day.
Yes, because we had the amazing opportunity to
go to Shanghai Disney Resort.
Okay, it's okay, babes. It's okay. We had an incredible day at Disneyland Shanghai, and we thought we'd share with you how the day was, starting with what our expectations were going into the day. What were yours, babes?
For sure, first expectations was stupidly expensive ticket, stupidly expensive food. That probably isn't going to taste very nice, but a magical day. I don't think that's how it ended, but for sure it was expensive. Not as expensive as going to some of the other theme parks, but still some money.
So my expectations, I didn't really have that many expectations other than hoping that it was going to be an amazing day. I had been to Disneyland Paris when I was 16 with my family, and it was just a lovely holiday, probably my favourite holiday with my family at that point. So I was expecting it to be great. I was expecting it to be expensive because obviously before I didn't really know how much it cost and didn't care. And yeah, so how did the day start?
So it started with Vanessa having bellyache from whatever lactose, and I'm like, I love my wife. I pray that she gets better. I also pray that I don't have to waste my money because I love Disney and I really want to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, she got better.
Yeah.
No more bellyache.
Yeah.
So we were able to head out early.
Yeah.
Like I think we had to wake up at about 5:30 to leave the hotel at about 7 a.m., which was delayed. But in the end, I think we left at about 7:20. Short taxi ride, about 15 minutes, far too long to walk, like over an hour because of the nature of it being on the motorway. But quite an early start, and we got there so early because one of my friends, Terry, here in Shanghai, actually highlighted the importance of actually getting there as early as possible. Even though it's, the low season because it's, winter time, it was still the weekend. And we thought, actually, we're going to get what we call the early bird entry ticket. So this is for like an extra 20, 30 pounds or euros per person you pay in addition to your regular entry ticket, which allows you to get into the park about an hour earlier than everybody else. So at 8 a.m. Now, of course, we're not the only people to do that. There was a few hundred other people doing that too. But it makes a massive difference when you can enter the park at 8 with a few hundred people, then at 9 with a few thousand people.
Yeah.
So that saved an incredible amount of time and effort with queuing, and it's quite spectacular being able to see the park on your own for an hour without many people around. It's quite fun. So the first place we headed off to was Treasure Cove. So how was that for you, B?
So Treasure Cove is the area that you have the Pirates of the Caribbean Battle of the Sunken Treasure ride, and that was one that we'd seen reviews and heard people talk about and had rated really highly as like one of the best rides in the park. So we were really excited to explore that. They took they had a lot of attention to detail in creating this area because the area was actually like kind of almost waterlogged. Even though it hadn't rained the night before. It was completely dry in other parts of the park, but to give you that feel of being around like a lagoon or sea or a harbour, they had actually wet the whole area, which is pretty cool when it comes to attention to detail. Not so cool if you don't have waterproof shoes. So that's definitely one tip I will give you. If you go to Disneyland, just make sure your shoes are waterproof, or else you end up enjoying the first ride with your socks being wet, which was the case for me. So from starting the morning not well to then moving on to having my feet wet before the first ride wasn't a great start to the day, but thank God we managed to push past that, and within 5 seconds on the ride, I was like won over, squealing like a child, absolutely delighted and just excited to be there.
Yeah. So the whole premise of the Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure ride is you're supposed to be in sort of like a boat, sort of raft, sort of thing that is going around the course. So you're on water, in an enclosed space. You see Captain Jack Sparrow. You see some of these other characters from the movies, in particular Davy Jones, who's the octopus squiddy guy, if you remember from the films. And they have a big fight with the ships. And what's really amazing about this experience is there's these giant projected screens that are all over the place to highlight the battles that are going on. And you feel more immersive by the fact that when some sort of cannon gets fired, there's a huge splash, or quite a few huge splashes dotted around that will get you wet if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And the screens, they're incredibly detailed. You see this massive squid or octopus underwater. And then there's a point where the whole screen makes you feel like your raft is actually coming out of the sea.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing the fights ensue.
It's amazing.
So that was definitely a highlight for me, that whole ride. I felt very childlike. It was great escapism and a huge amount of fun.
Yeah.
Particularly the animatronics of Davy Jones. It was actually photorealistic. Like it was, a physical, animatronic experience with him. But it looked like it was a real thing. So the ride was incredible, but it began a series of patterns of having to regularly go to the toilet. Man, the way that these rides and experiences will get your heart pumping, your blood pressure up, it certainly fills a bladder. And it helps that the toilets are so frequent and clean. I've never experienced any queues in any of the toilets, actually.
No,
How was that the case for you?
Me neither. They had enough toilets placed well enough around the park.
Which is really, really wise and important because, we're talking about thousands of people that descend to Disneyland. It's got the biggest castle out of all of the Disneylands. It's 963 acres.
Yeah.
Like, this is a massive, massive place. Yeah. So not having to queue to relieve yourself is quite a relief.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after that, we decided to go to Soaring Over the Horizon.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so this was the first time we actually had to queue for a ride, and that was maybe one of the longest times we queued, which was half an hour.
Yeah.
So it's nothing in comparison to some of the other queuing times that were building up, but I kind of was semi over it by the time we'd finished queuing.
In fact, it's much better than the 2 hours that you normally have to wait to go and see Soaring.
Yeah, we saw that. It just continued going up after we visited it. But Soaring is it's almost like a flight simulation experience.
Sort of, so you're in these harnesses with maybe like 4 or 5 other people, and you're raised up from the ground quite a bit, maybe about 10-20 meters off the ground.
Yeah.
And then you're shown in front of this huge, massive projector, a variety of scenes from around the world.
Yeah.
So there was definitely the Eiffel Tower, Taj Mahal. Where else?
Obviously Shanghai.
Yes,
so a view of Shanghai.
Sure. Elephants, polar bears.
Yes, the pyramids as well.
Yeah.
So loads of different beautiful places all over the world, and you kind of had that helicopter view of those sites. So it was absolutely stunning. I mean, the ride was only 2 minutes and something long, and we queued for
it needed
half
to
an
be
hour.
About 2 minutes. I remember another thing though of that ride. There's these points when they spray scents throughout the whole room, so that it smells different, not just that it looks different, just to help build that atmosphere. And there's little touches like that where it's like, this is a really, really cool ride.
Yeah.
I would do it again. We didn't do it again that day because there was other rides to go on. But it was a great, great experience. I'm not too surprised that people would queue for 2 hours to go and do it.
I'm not sure I would queue for 2 hours, but for the 30 minutes, it was definitely well worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then again, because
after another
heart
break
was pumping, toilet break again, and then we used our first fast pass. So a fast pass, as the name suggests, allows you to quickly pass through the crowds at a particular ride, an attraction. So they're available for about 8 or 9 out of all the rides. Yeah,
so they're not available for all the rides.
Yeah.
But they tend to be, I guess, for the rides that they know have the most queues.
Yeah, and they they're all free, which is really useful. But as soon as you request one, the next time you can request another one tends to be an hour later.
Yeah.
So you have to be quite strategic with which fast passes you use.
Which we weren't for our first
first one, we decided to go for Peter Pan because this was highly rated, like 9 out of 10, saying that Soaring Over the Horizon and that Pirates of the Caribbean ride was. And for sure it was nowhere near a 9 out of 10. Or even give it half that amount. You know, someone had fun on that ride, but it wasn't me. So it is, you know, great for children, for sure, especially those who have watched Peter Pan, which is a good animated film. And I've seen most animated films from Disney. It's a good film. And the ride wasn't doing it for me, unfortunately.
I quite enjoyed it. It was very chill. It was definitely not a ride that you'd like go on and anticipate as an adult, but I think it was alright. It was alright. I just felt it was a shame that we wasted our fast pass on that.
Yeah. As well of it being another ride that's going to make me need to go to the toilet. Anyway, after that, it was Tron Light Cycles Power Run. Yeah. Presented by Chevrolet. Yeah. Basically means that they pay a lot of money to have the right to be associated with the main attraction at Disneyland World. I say main attraction. The main attraction is actually the castle. Yeah. And the castle is beautiful. Like, I'm not really an architect, but it is beautiful to see. Because it's huge. Like I say, it's the largest castle out of all the Disneyland parks. And it is a marvel to behold. Particularly the show that happens at the end of the day. But we'll come to that later. So we did spend a bit of time as we were walking around. Because the park's massive from one end to the other to get to Tron. Passing the castle. But Tron was quite an experience. It
absolutely was. So just give a bit of a backstory. I had never been on a roller coaster before Tron. I didn't really like the idea of having my stomach move up and down too much. I wasn't really a fan of that. I wasn't really a fan of amusement parks, really. So, but we decided to try out Tron because everybody had recommended it. All of Giles's work colleagues, everywhere on the internet, and you know, it's been hailed as one of the fastest rides in Disneyland, in any of the Disneylands. And we thought, you know what, let's be courageous. I'd been talking about courage on the Blueprint Way, my business website, for a while, and I was like, you know what, new decade is coming upon us. I'm 32. Why not do a roller coaster ride for the first time in my life? So
brave indeed, brave indeed. So we're queuing for about half an hour because we didn't have a fast pass for this one. And we thought we're not that far away, we'll just queue.
Exactly.
So I'll explain a little bit about what Tron is, which is not that easy a story to tell. It's basically some people doing some game design stuff thingy, then they go into the game, and then there's like some light cycle thing where if you hit the trail that's running behind the light cycle, you will just be destroyed, and just some random stuff. Anyway, we didn't really need to have an excuse to go on the ride apart from it's the highest rated ride in the whole park. Yeah. So we're there for half an hour. Along the journey of us waiting, we can hear other riders actually crying and screaming and otherwise being somewhat terrified by the journey that they're taking on the light cycle. And I obviously, for the whole time, I'm not a roller coaster guy, to be honest. I'm trying to be a man, hold it down, you know, for the man them. And I think I just about did a good enough job, because for sure the highlight of the day was seeing, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean and feeling really childlike. The lowest point for me was actually being strapped in to that light cycle, because like this, you're having to lean forward like you're on a bike. Yeah. Your feet and ankles are being strapped in, like something's pressing against it, so your leg is trapped. Yeah. Okay. And then something's pressing against your back. Yeah. In order to make you feel locked in. Yeah. And you're just leaning forward like, okay, I've now like really put myself in a compromising position, there's nothing you can do about it. Nowhere to go. Nothing at all. And that was exceedingly fast. The first part just shoots you out into the outside area, because most of the ride is inside, but you're going outside, and this is where loads of other people ready to go on the ride are seeing you, definitely hearing me scream, because I'm having to scream in order to keep myself from not crying out of fear. Yeah. So we're going around, and it's serious screaming. Like I'm only just about recovered from the sore throat I was getting afterwards. I was screaming my head off. Because the thing is, like with roller coasters, as much as I've never really been on any, you always think that, there's a bit of an anticipation before like the fast part starts. So you start off and then there's the dip and whatever. It was just
this one was literally
bam,
3,
bam,
2,
bam,
1.
bam, bam, boom.
Yeah,
You're
we
just
need to
in,
research how fast it was, but
Man,
it was
too fast.
It was ridiculous. It was literally the combination of all my fears of roller coaster rides in one. Yeah. The speed, the twists and turns, the up and down. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Man. And then, so you really know that a ride has done its job in actually ensuring someone's had an experience. When you see how people react when they get off, right? So I distinctly remember seeing one woman, see if you can remember this already. There was one particular woman who was just in front of us, right?
Yeah.
And she gets off the ride and she turned into one next level zombie where she's just struggling to just like really understand what's going on, where she's been, what's happened now, right? So we got past the collect our things because the nature of the ride, you couldn't be holding a bag and you can't be having even your glasses on. And then as we're leaving, we suddenly see one woman just like, and then proper in the corner puked one time. Now this is around 10, just after 10 at that point.
Yeah.
So actually about 11, 10:30, near 11. So we hadn't eaten yet because we tend not to have breakfast. Which is another video. But anyway, she puked. And then we finally got out, and obviously me, once a doctor, always a doctor. I'm thinking, I'm sure there's people here that need some sort of medical attention. Because even me start to get some next level zombie mode too, just like, just trying to understand space and time.
Exactly, your brain is trying to catch up with the fact that it's now on solid ground.
It was a bit too far, and the way you're gripping onto the handle. Yeah. Oh, seriously, calluses on your hand that forms afterwards. Yeah. And then even when we came out, we saw that same woman, that zombie woman, one of her friends was helping her put on her coat because she was struggling. She was seriously struggling because she wasn't even that tall to begin with. So whatever, G-force that was being applied to us was being multiplied with her small little stature. So so it was still intense. Fun.
And it was I must say that obviously, like I said, Pirates of the Caribbean was definitely my favorite ride, but my favorite moment was getting off of Tron, knowing I had done it and that I would never have to do it ever again in my life. Exactly. And that we're still alive because I don't understand how people do this for pleasure.
But you know what? That ride surely is tame compared to other rides that proper roller coaster enthusiasts go on. But
probably.
That was enough for us, for sure.
Definitely enough for us.
But what was great afterwards in that area, so this is part of what they call Tomorrowland. So this is stuff like some Buzz Lightyear experiences and other things that are a bit more futuristic, such as the Avengers and other Star Wars things. And there's an experience that Chevrolet puts on, which was okay. They've done 2 cars that they've designed to look similar to the light cycles. They were quite cool, and we took some pictures in those. And there was a game that we were able to play for a little while.
That was cool.
Kind of didn't really make any sense to me. Just start shooting and then.
It was a racing game where clearly being first wasn't the objective because I was first, but I ended up being towards the bottom of the. Yeah,
I still to this day don't really know what I was doing.
And Giles got first because all he did throughout the whole game was shoot me. So.
Well, anyway, so it was a great experience though being in that part of the world. And then we decided to actually get something to eat.
Now that we didn't need to, fear for our stomach contents anymore.
That's right. So we went to the Star Grill. Stargazing, something. Let's check the map. Some place that was just doing some food.
Stargazer
Grill. So it was somewhat Avengers themed, I would say, Marvel themed. You can see some of the different characters there. I decided to get this Avengers burger with some Wagyu beef. I think it was Angus beef. It was okay. It was all for show, a lot of the food. Vanetta, what did you get?
I got a turkey burger. I don't even know what it was called on the menu.
It was alright. It was quite tasty.
Pumpkin.
I felt a bit sorry for V with the fries that they gave us. A measly portion of the fries where it's you can count the fries almost on one hand.
I mean, I didn't mind at that point because, like I said, I'd had stomach issues in the morning and then Tron had just left me a little bit shaky. So I was fine with the portion that I had at that point. Definitely.
And the great thing about our tickets at this time, we've been winter and a slightly lower season, is that we both were entitled to an 85 yuan discount, which is basically the cost of a meal. So that was alright. That was useful.
Yeah, really useful.
So but obviously before going to eat, we had to go to the toilet because Tron was like serious with the urine just filling up that bladder. Like, it's not a joke. Like that was trip 4 or 5 at that point.
Exactly.
And that was still not even half the amount of time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously we've eaten, and then what did we do next?
Then we went to the Buzz Lightyear.
Right. So this was one of those light gun games where you know you're in like a little pod with one other person, and then you're going to be shooting at loads of. Is it Zorg, the character, the bad guy from Toy Story 2? I think it is. So there's some sort of invasion going on with him, and you have to shoot things. And actually, I absolutely smashed Vanetta's score. I didn't get photographic evidence, unfortunately. I was too slow to take the picture, but
I
have memories.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah,
definitely.
V score was.
I knew I was in trouble when Giles was banking at like 10,000, and I was at like 140, and I was like, what? What's happening here?
Yeah.
But
that was fun.
Right.
That was a bit different going to that one.
Definitely.
What was after that?
Well, we decided to skip the Marvel Universe and Star Wars because based on reviews that you'd read.
There's a lot of experiences there which are just afterthoughts. So we thought, if we're going to spend time, let's do something that we enjoy.
Yeah.
So I think we then probably started to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah, taking it a bit slower because...
we wanted to go and see something back at the Treasure Cove. There was actually an experience, a stuntman show, stuntman show. Eye of the Storm, is it?
Eye of the Storm, Captain Jack Stunt Spectacular.
So I enjoyed that a lot. For sure, Vanetta was staring at the back of her eyelids half of the time, which I was quite surprised because we're in Disneyland for one. Yes, you're tired, you mash up because you wake up early with your bellyache, but still, like, Captain Jack Sparrow is there on the stage doing all these flips and turns, and there's all these things going on with some of the other characters. I really was surprised how Vanetta was able to stay falling asleep, but you know, it was a dark room. It was cozy, I suppose.
Everything was in Mandarin. That is the main issue. Everything was in Mandarin, so I can't connect to the story of passion or adventure. I just see people running around, jumping around, speaking a dialogue I don't get, and I was exhausted. Because I hadn't slept all night because my stomach was hurting me.
Yeah, for sure, them speaking in Mandarin was unfortunate. You know, as much as the show itself was quite good, there was clearly a lot of comedy going on. That wasn't just aimed at the young children, but at families and older adults. And we couldn't get into any of it. Yeah. The closest thing was there was a moment when they shouted out something and everybody else responded, ho, ho, ho. But apart from that, literally there wasn't really much else way for us to interact. Yeah. But it was fun. Yeah. I still enjoyed the show.
And I mean, the end element that which Giles nudged me awake for was amazing. We're not going to spoil it, but it was amazing.
I'll spoil it a little bit because when is these people going to go there?
Okay, fine.
It's not impossible, but it doesn't change the fact that you should see the show. But there's a point where they're in this sort of what would you call it? It's not a wind tunnel. It's sort of like that.
It is kind
of like those experiences where it feels like you're skydiving.
Indoor skydiving.
Yeah, indoor skydiving type of thing. Yeah. But normally people do this in a cage. There was no cage. Yeah. And these guys are doing some proper flips and spins like they're in a tornado. Yeah. And then landing on the platform is like, I've never seen someone be able to do that. With such skill and, sophistication, if I'm honest. Like, it was such a fluid, smooth movement, and there was no wires or anything like that. This is just that person using the air and riding it like they're one bird. So I enjoyed it. You know, I was happy to be awake the entire time. Yeah. So then off to the toilet again, as you do, and then this is when we were starting to slow down.
Yeah, we were flagging at that point.
Yeah, I think it was probably around maybe 3-ish or 2-ish, something like that. Because we had a fast pass to then go and see the dwarves' mine train.
Before we did that, we went back on the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, which was good. And we also got ourselves a turkey leg. Sorry, turkey thigh would have been much bigger. Turkey leg, which was quite different to the one you experienced in America, you said. So this one was more
stewed.
Yeah, but Asian flavors, I would say, Far East Asian flavors, and I thought it was tasty.
Yeah.
You know, you had to definitely get your hands dirty with that one. But that was
provide
good.
you gloves to eat.
Yeah. But then slowing down as the afternoon's going by, and we decided actually to go to the dwarves' runaway train mine thing. What's it called?
It's called
the dwarf train mine ride.
Seven Dwarves Mine Train.
There we go. Something about a train and dwarves.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before we could do that, we were actually stopped. We were like, what's going on? What's this massive crowd doing?
Yes.
Obviously, it's Disneyland, so there's always going to be crowds. But there was a particularly big crowd at one street. And we realised there was a parade that had just started. And I must say the parade was, you know, a really beautiful thing to behold.
Yeah.
So in particular, you know, there was the time where you're seeing Mickey and some of the other core Disney
Donald
characters.
And Daisy.
Yeah. But then you see obviously some characters from Frozen. And I think what really, really stood out for both of us actually was when Mulan came out. So she's on her horse. And for sure, her float was the biggest, which only makes sense. You know, we're in China. This is the only Chinese Disney film that's been made. And it's something to be celebrated. And it was quite humbling, actually, as foreigners, to be amongst so many local Chinese people experiencing that as well. So I really liked the parade.
Yeah.
As much as we weren't expecting it, it was a pleasant detour to our day. So
and then we went to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah.
Had a fast pass for that, which we'd booked in the morning, and it was brilliant.
Yes.
So queued up. I felt like the queuing was actually, even though we had a fast pass, it was quite.
There was a lot of others who had a fast pass for that because it's a very popular ride. For most of the day, there was about a 70-minute wait.
Yes.
We only had to wait probably about
15
to 20 minutes. So, because what I noticed is that the fast pass route was further away than the regular entrance, which slows you down a bit because you have to walk to that. Then you have to meander all the way through that path, show your fast pass twice, and then skip the queue, but you're joining part of it. And then, you know, after a bit of time, you get on.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, quite interesting, right? Like you begin going up this bit of a hill, and then it stops, and then it
like
drops.
What you expect,
but the drop wasn't that bad. Like, it's kind of gentle, you know, and it's going through some meandering parts, then getting a bit faster, and then it gets actually into the mine, and you see all the dwarves, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then it just kicks it up a notch.
Yeah.
And then you are belting it around that roller coaster. Like I really enjoyed it. It was getting a bit scary at times. But I was like, there's a 6-year-old girl in the next cart. She's fine. I need to be fine. So, you know.
I think because we'd done Tron in the morning and it was definitely way faster and way more extreme, Seven Dwarfs was it seemed quite easy. And to begin with, I thought, this is going to be maybe even boring.
Yeah.
Surprise. But actually it wasn't, because it had much more...
loops and stuff.
Yeah,
well, it didn't go upside down or anything because it's supposed to simulate a train.
Yeah.
But it was going fast, and it was good. We both enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed it.
Yep. So then another pit stop to the toilet.
That's literally our day was like
honestly,
that.
It was like ride toilet. But yeah, that was good. And so at this point, we're starting to slow down a bit more.
It's getting darker.
Yes, and we took some more pictures of the castle, walking around. Took pictures with Walt Disney, which was really cool. It was amazing actually seeing a particular statue of him with Mickey, I think it was, which is really cool. So we took some pictures there, and we also decided to go around Alice in Wonderland maze, which is all themed around the latest Alice in Wonderland films, not the original animated ones. So you see the Queen of Hearts' massive, ginormous head. Always found a bit freaky in that live-action film, to be honest. But that was quite a good experience. This was the final straw for Veneta, though, because like there was a few times when people have been wanting to take pictures of us. Because, you know, it's not actually that common to see people of a darker hue out in public. So there was a few times people have asked to take pictures. Veneta, like, she doesn't deal with any of that brown skin fetish nonsense that happens here in China.
No.
I don't mind so much. Like, someone to take my picture. You know,
I think that sometimes yes, but then I just thought getting too much.
Let's be honest, it's never.
By the time about 6:15, after we'd done the frozen snow moment, we decided to go back to the castle and start positioning ourselves for what we knew at 8 p.m. was going to be the light show. Well, actually, what it's called is Ignite the Dream, a nighttime spectacular of magic and light.
Yes, it's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And we knew that pretty much everyone who's at Disneyland at that time will want to see this.
Yeah.
And people know that it is such a big deal that they're easily queuing. We thought from maybe 6:30 to 7.
Mm.
Clearly some people were queuing from maybe even 5. Yeah. Remember, the show starts at 8. It's an outside show, huge projection over the castle, as well as pyrotechnics and fireworks, okay, for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah. So
people knew they want to be in the best spot in front of the castle, in this garden area just in front of it. And we found a spot at about 6:15 and had to entertain ourselves for just under 2 hours. And, you know, we were playing some word game, which was okay, and just chatting a bit. But my feet was bunning me. But I knew, you know what, you have to be able to sacrifice your life for your wife. So I sacrificed my coach for her so she can lay down, sit down on the floor, make herself a bit more comfortable, rest her feet.
It was such a gentlemanly move, and I really appreciated it until
so
it
wonderful.
got
I'm so amazing.
Rudely disrupted about 5 minutes into me finally resting my feet and sitting on Giles's coat, because the little girl in the stroller next to me decided to drop her strawberry flavoured drink on me.
Yeah. and on my coat as well, I might add. So as much as I was trying to be an amazing, wonderful husband, that coat really did get sacrificed as it got dripping in some strawberry milk drink thing. It was painful waiting for 2 hours in the cold, I might add.
And not sitting. I think that was the thing.
Yeah, having to stand the whole
for 2 hours. That was
time.
What made it really painful.
And it's not just the standing, it's standing in a very confined space.
Yes.
Because for sure there was a crowd of thousands of people behind us. We're not joking, like at least, a couple thousand. Because we were already quite close to the front because we got there so early. But the show was absolutely spectacular. Beginning with Mickey clearly being inspired by some light show, interacting with the genie at one point from Aladdin, some musical renditions coming from The Lion King. Most of the songs actually were in Mandarin, but these were very, very famous songs. So, as much as you kind of wanted to sing along, it's not a disaster that you couldn't do it word for word, but you could at least hum the tune, I suppose. And the projection over the castle is very, very creative. Like, they are mindful of the shape and the size and layout of the castle when they're doing the projection, so it just kind of fits and works really well.
Perfectly.
And we were quite far away still from the castle because the castle's so big. It's very imposing. You can see the projections, but there would be pyrotechnics and fire being let off at times. And considering how far away we were, it was surprising to still feel how hot it was. You could feel the heat on your face. So that was nice, but it was cold. And the fireworks was amazing. Like the whole experience was incredible.
Yeah.
And as people are then leaving the park when the show had ended, it was nice to just casually walk around a little bit more for certain parts that we could, because this is now coming up close to 9 o'clock. Another pit stop at the loo, and then seeing some of the artwork of some less known characters, like Pluto, the lambs from Mary Poppins, the cockerel from Robin Hood, other little random characters that had some artwork for them. So we were seeing that and got a little bit of dessert, didn't we?
Yes.
Some crepes, which was nice. Yeah. And then it was the journey back to the hotel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Highly, highly rate going there.
Definitely.
If you get the opportunity. Would you fly to Shanghai just to go to Disneyland? That I'm not so sure of. But yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, same.
What about you?
Absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. Definitely glad that we've been able to make the journey without children, because when we do have children, we'll be able to have much more of a relaxed time.
Yeah, for sure. The parents there with children, every single one of them deserves a medal. Top tips you would give?
Top tips, like I said, wear water-resistant footwear.
Yeah, consider the early bird pass if
definitely
you can.
Consider that. Also, be mindful of the weather when you're going. Yeah. So one of Giles's colleagues had kindly mentioned to me that obviously the rides are going to be even colder than it is normally because of the speed. So I was prepared. I had layers on. I had this amazing shirt on, which is keeps the warmth close, which was really good. So make sure that even without your coat, potentially you're warm enough, because you might have to take your coat off for some of the rides. It depends. And otherwise, just enjoy yourself. If you've already spent the money, there's no point stressing about it. Enjoy yourself. Take a chance. Take a leap. Do Tron. Yeah,
you'll love it, honestly. And I think the other thing actually is, do try and watch at least one of the films for some attraction there, just so you can feel a little bit more immersive. Like, I hadn't seen any of the films in quite a while, particularly Peter Pan, which didn't help, especially when I thought that one was just okay. And I hadn't seen Tron either for a long time. But the Tron experience, I don't really feel like you needed to have seen Tron. But for Pirates of the Caribbean, for sure, the nostalgia would have been more if you had seen the films recently. Please continue to watch our videos. We love recording our experiences as we travel the world and share things that we've been learning, things we've been doing. So just hit that subscribe button and we'll be tuning in again with another video.
Yeah. And if you've got any questions, let us know in the comment section below. We're happy to answer those. Anything related to Shanghai Disneyland that you might want to know that we might have not mentioned.
Yeah, or any comments that you want to share about your experiences
Exactly.
with Shanghai Disneyland or any other Disneyland for that matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.